So I just saw a couple of people arguing online that dollar store paints are just as good as professional paints. We've been making paint for over 30 years. I don't think these two are the same thing. I hope my life hasn't been a lie. We'll see. We're gonna do three things. We're gonna look at some colors right out of the jar. We're gonna do some mixing with gel medium. We're gonna do some color mixes as well to see what kind of colors you could get out of dollar store paints. All right, let's get into it. Why don't we look at some reds? I'm gonna just pour out a little bit of the dollar store bright red here. And I'm gonna pour out some of our cadmium red medium. So I can already see a difference. The dollar store red definitely has a sort of pastel-y look to it. So that's probably because of the chalk fillers that are in it. Whereas this is more noticeably deep, rich red. And we'll just sort of play around with the viscosity first, and then we'll do some swatches on the card. So, okay, so I don't know if you could see this, but it's a very stringy liquid acrylic. So this has what we would describe as a longer rheology. So that longer rheology will mean that this paint, as you're working with it, will settle quite a bit. So typically in a professional quality paint, we would want a shorter rheology. And essentially what that means is that the paint is releasing quite a bit more. So if you see this sort of almost honey-like string that's occurring, it shouldn't really have that. It might be a cheaper sort of quality thickener that's being used, but we're gonna put some of this paint out and we'll see how this looks. So again, I'm sort of fighting with this. It's a bit weird, this stringy sort of consistency that it has. It's not particularly strong looking, and it's not particularly red looking either. And it looks like there's quite a bit of sort of particulates I could see in the paint itself. Because it has that longer rheology, it's actually self-leveling right now. I highly doubt these dollar store paints are going to be able to retain any sort of information from the brush. So you're not going to see lines from the brush here like you would with our professional liquid acrylics. Let's just swatch out. This is cadmium red medium hue in our professional liquids acrylic line, and there's already a very, very stark difference. So my brush also has some water in it still. I didn't dry it off properly. Really what we can see here is we're really seeing the pigmentation difference. So this is a pretty stark difference in pigmentation. What we're also going to be noticing is, so I'll show you a bit. If you could see this, there's absolutely no stringiness here. So this product is what I would describe as a very short rheology. So this is a very thin, short rheology. The paint is just loading beautifully on the brush. It's not sort of stringing along. So let's take a look at some of the yellows. So Acrylic yellow medium from our liquids line again, up against the dollar store paints. So let's see how this goes. Sort of play around with this. It has again that dollar store paint's got that sort of stringy kind of consistency to it. So this is really not going to hold the brush stroke very well. I'm seeing a lot of texture in this, but I'm not, I would not normally see this. Even in some of our lower sort of student quality lines, I wouldn't see this kind of texture poking out. And really what I'm seeing is almost particles probably of the filler. So it's really not a very ideal look of texture. It doesn't look particularly strong. Really, this is very pastel. There's very little actual yellow pigment in here. They might even have just some dyes in here rather than true artist pigments. Dyes tend to be quite a bit more fugitive than real artist pigments. So artist pigments are gonna basically just last so much longer. This paint really sucks. Don't do it. If you can avoid getting any of this paint, please run to your local art supply store. Don't go the dollar store route. It's just not worth it. Let's take a look at the Acrylic yellow medium. So this color is a semi-opaque color. There's a bit of a misconception between the paint quality and the coverage. So some pigments are just naturally a lot more opaque. Some pigments are naturally more semi-opaque. Some pigments are naturally more transparent. And it really depends on how you're grinding the pigment as well. We do a particularly fine grind of pigment. So our transparent colors are beautifully transparent. So a pigment that's semi-opaque will probably, oh yeah, it's even, the colors are, I mean, exceptionally different. We're gonna try now mixing some of the dollar store paints and the professional paints with some gel medium. So if you don't know what gel medium is, it's essentially paint without the color. So oftentimes gel medium is used as an extender. It can be used as a thickener as well. So in this case, because we're working with a liquid acrylic, the gel medium is going to add some thickness to it. So we'll start with phthalo turquoise light, and we'll do some mixing into gel medium. We're just going to see, essentially what I'm looking for is how strong the mixture will still be when we're adding a clear gel to it. So just going to add some little glob of gel medium here. I'm going to add a similar glob here. And so we're gonna mix first our professional phthalo turquoise light and then the dollar store equivalent. So let's see how this goes. All right, so, okay, so with the professional paints, it's mixing in really nicely into the gel medium. You can see that it's still quite strong looking. As I'm mixing this too, it's just incorporating really beautifully. There is some air bubbles that are created, and that's fine. Like, you're always gonna have some like air bubbles as you're mixing things. So you'll see a bit of that aeration happening. But I've essentially mixed almost 2-to-1 gel medium to acrylic color. Let's see how this looks. Okay, it almost looks just as strong as the other straight out of the bottle version that we did. All right, so next we're gonna try the dollar store phthalo turquoise light. We'll see how it mixes, and then we'll see the resulting color swatch. So we'll see how much color really comes through here. So this will be a good judge of how much pigment there is. So already, I've mixed most of the paint in, and it's looking a bit on the weak side. Some of that thickening agent is kind of interacting with the gel medium, so it's got a bit more of a stringiness. Already looking at how this is loading onto my brush, it seems like it's going to be very, very weak looking. And yeah, it's like shockingly weak. You could definitely tell there's a huge difference between the strength of both of these color swatches. So, all right, so let's try doing some color mixing. So I want to see how these colors, these dollar store paints, are going to mix together. So if I have a blue and a yellow, I'm really going to expect to get green, right? So you mix blue and yellow, you'll get some sort of green. So we'll add a bit of blue paint, a bit of yellow paint. We're gonna mix these together. We're gonna see what happens. Okay. So I don't know if you can really see this on the video. So the yellow is probably, it's pretty weak. Let's see if I can add a bit more yellow, but this is going very, very gray. So you don't really expect to get gray out of blue and yellow. You should get a nice green color is what you would expect. So let's see, just adding a bit more yellow if we can get it there. Mixing it, it feels very stiff. I don't know how to, as I'm mixing it, it kind of feels like I'm grinding something. So it's don't know if you could hear that, but it's almost like a scraping sandpaper, and it kind of, honestly, the paint kind of looks like that too. You can see a lot of this texture that really shouldn't be in there. It should be really pretty smooth. So I added a bit more yellow to the mixture, and yeah, it's getting to be, you know, I mean, I guess you could call that green. I would probably call that, you know, a very gray green, if anything. It looks quite gray to me. Maybe I'll try just painting some of that out onto a swatch. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's I don't know. It looks very, very gray. I would, if this were a professional quality paint and this were the color I was working with, I'd probably use that as maybe my underlayer. Like it might be a really nice color to work on, painting over top. Some neutral grays can be really nice for that. Not that this is a neutral gray, but you know, different kinds of grays can be really nice for painting on. I'm gonna just show you something real quick because I really want to drive this point home. You don't have to go with the highest end acrylic paint to get a good color mix. There's some lines out there that are great student acrylics that will work very well for color mixing. So this line, for instance, that we manufacture, this is called Art Noise. It's a student acrylic. It's a liquid format, so it's a bit thinner like some of the lines we've been covering. And essentially, there's a very non-disruptive filler in this, so the color mixing ability is going to be very, very strong. So when you mix yellow and blue, you're gonna get a really nice green. So I'll show that here in a minute too. All right, so here we've got the Art Noise line. We're gonna do some color mixing with it. I'll show you the results. All right, we've got some yellow. We're gonna do a little bit of our blue here, and we're gonna mix these up. All right, so you can see pretty instantly we're mixing a really nice green color. We're gonna add just a little bit more yellow here. So you can see you can make some really nice greens with a more budget line. You don't have to go with the highest end acrylic by any means. So save some money, go to your local art supply store, pick up something like a student acrylic line. All right, so here are the results. So these two here are the Art Noise color mixture that we just did. In the center is the dollar store acrylic, and then we have the professional quality color mix that we did earlier. So yeah, really I just wanted to show you don't have to go with the highest end acrylic paint line to get a good color mixture. So yeah, I hope you find this helpful. So let's try mixing now. We are going to mix our cobalt blue and our Acrylic yellow in the professional line. And we'll see how those colors mix together. So, got a bit of cobalt blue out. I'll try 1-to-1 because that's what I started with the other color there. We'll see how these mix. Okay, so immediately we're getting this nice bright green color. So this is like an extremely rich green. Yeah, this is actually really nice green. I'm gonna try just brightening it up with some more yellow. We'll see how that goes. Yeah. So this is brightening up really nicely. It feels much more smooth on the palette knife as I'm mixing. I'm not getting that same sort of coarse grinding feeling, so you know, it's a much smoother product. Now, I hope you can see on camera the difference between these two. So our professional color mix versus the dollar store one. So we're gonna paint this onto our little swatch card here. There we go. We have a nice sort of bright green. This would be really nice to work with. We could keep mixing this. We could get all kinds of different greens with this, just these two colors. And that's something too that, you know, it's the dollar store paint just from this demonstration is proving that you can't really mix with it. So if you can't mix with it, then that means you have to buy so many more colors. Whereas if you had a more limited color palette with a professional quality paint, not only are you going to be able to extend this and get a lot more use out of your paint, but you could just have so many more palettes of colors if you're just playing around with different color mixes. So that's something I didn't really think about before when it comes to comparing these two different kinds of paints. So it may not actually be as much of a savings as you might think going with a dollar store paint. If you were doing a painting, yeah, you'd certainly need a lot of the dollar store colors, which, yeah, and a lot of patience. Thanks for watching. And what do you think? Were dollar store paints really just as good as the professional stuff? Pick up a paintbrush, give it a try, see for yourself. Do you like it? Is one better than the other? If one works for you, I don't really care. Okay? Whatever you want to do. And if you'd like, you could like and subscribe and follow more of these videos.